But if we had the help on the reading and stuff like that, maybe I would find a way to go to college. But that was one of the reasons why I didn't go to college.
Okay, here's a different question. Do you like the Pittsburgh professional sports teams, and if so, why? And what would you change if you were the owner of those teams?
Well, when I was younger, I enjoyed baseball. That was my favorite. Baseball was my favorite. We had a lot of good baseball players back when I was younger. Football, since my son likes football, I enjoy football now. And then hockey, I'm not too familiar about it, but in a couple, the Pirates won a couple World Series games. The Steelers won Super Bowl, 5 Super Bowls. The Penguins win. In the 70s, we were called the City of Champs. I remember that. Now, I'm going pretty far back, and I'm showing my age here, people, but hey, that's what I remember. Yeah, that's, yeah.
The bus is not going on strike. And how do you feel about the Port Authority? And have you ever been involved in trying to advocate the continuation and survival of the Port Authority?
Well, good question, Annette. Well, I've been involved with Port Authority since I was a little girl. It was streetcars back then. And yes, I've been involved in going to meetings, trying to stop so the buses won't go on strike, so they wouldn't cut service. But unfortunately, they did cut service on some of the routes. And to you, Mr. Dan Alvarado, I'd like to say, is there a way you can try to get some of these buses back? And I'm also talking to Steve Bland and our Governor Ed Randell to try to get some of this service back, because they cut some of the service on Sundays, and people have a hard time trying to get to work, especially in the McKeesport area, like the 60M and 60E. And then after a certain time, you can't get home. You have to either walk or ask a friend to get you home. I'm talking to you, Mr. Dan Honorado, and Steve Bland of Port Authority, the president of Port Authority. I'd like to try to see if you can help us get these buses back, because people don't stop working Monday through Friday. We do work on Sundays. We do work on holidays. Take a hospital, for example. If the nurses can't get in, who's going to help you if you're in the hospital? Who's going to wait on you if they can't come in? So trying to bring these buses back. And to answer the other questions, yes, I am now involved with an organization, Drawing with Pat. I also went to a couple of meetings they had for the public, and I also was in the newspaper recently, about a couple of years ago, saying how important it is to have Port Authority. And I am happy that there was no strike, but like I said before, we should bring back some of the routes. I even have a hard time getting home at nights, especially after a certain time, because then the buses stop running, and then you took off. Like I said, you take off some of the service. But try to please bring it back. Thank you.
Rose.
Well, humanity matters. Well, it's because it says human. Part of the thing is called human, and human matter. I think that's the topic of the show is called Humanity Matters. So I think what my brother's trying to say, human matters. That's the way I look at it. And everyone in the world is a human being. So he's trying to say everyone in the world matters to him and everybody else.
Well, thank you, Rose, for this interview tonight. Rose, why does humanity really matter?
Well, like the words is, it's called humanity, meaning humans. And to me, all humans all over the world matter to me. That's why I feel humans matter. Thank you.
How do you contribute to humans?
Well, I guess I'm a human. That's part of it. But to be serious, well, I really don't know how to answer that question. She got me on the spot, everybody. I don't know how to say that. All I can say is I'm a human and everybody else is a human. Well, and that humanity to me is, well, I do contribute to humanity because I work in a personal care home and I help the elderly. Well, I actually don't help them get dressed or anything like that, but I'm the one who asks them about the soup. That's what I do basically with them, and I ask them, tell them, okay, do you want some soup today? That's part of my job at senior care. That's what I do as a human.
Now, Rose, I have a thought-provoking question. What do you think about poverty, and what can we do to change it?
Well, what do I think about it? Well, I think it's been around a long time. I don't know how long, but I know it's been around a long time, and I myself was kind of poor at one time. I don't consider myself poor right now, but at one time I consider myself poor. We actually, my mom and dad and brother and sister actually was in not a poor neighborhood, but in a house that was poor and run down. And my dad, take example, he was a working guy, don't get me wrong, my dad did work. He actually had 2 jobs. He had one in Carnegie, and he also sold newspapers, but we still was struggling to put food on the table. Sometimes we just had a can of corn to eat. But I am trying, and hopefully the government today is trying to stop that. So, now there is programs out there for the poor people, like WIC, for example, for people who have babies and who are pregnant. That's one. I went through that. Also, there's people who ride buses also have programs for them. They call half-fare bus passes. There's also programs for the senior citizen who can't afford it. They're free. How do I know this? Because, as I said in the past about the question about pet authority, I've been riding buses a long time, so I know a little bit about that. I know a little bit about being poor, because we were poor. There was times that we had to go with no heat. There was times we had to go without no electricity, maybe even no phone, or even sometimes no water. There was also times we went without heating, but there was people that helped us. Now, I like for the people out there to write to their governors and their politicians to try to help stop this, so maybe our next president can stop, so people won't have to be begging.